Peter Schrager of ESPN tweeting overnight last night that he is hearing that Colston Loveland will go way earlier than expected Thursday night, round 1 of the draft. Something we've been telling you on the show for a couple weeks now. We talked about Colston Loveland, Femi, last week, 2 weeks ago even, as being the best bet in the first tight end to be drafted market when Tyler Warren was minus 1,000. As we sit right now, Tyler Warren minus 400, Colston Loveland about plus 250, right? Any thoughts from you on first tight end now with Loveland starting to get bet quite a bit in that particular market?
Yeah, I think like this is where it gets fascinating because it's like they're two different tight ends, so like it just depends on the team that might be picking, which is of course is going to be based on what happens prior to them selecting. So that's why I think that at price, I would still go Loveland, even though it's shortened a little bit. Like this was 5-1. You could have gotten when we were discussing Colston Loveland. I know Nick, that was one that you were dead on, like early on in the process. Like still at plus 250 though. I mean, I don't want to lay minus 400 when there's a team that could just say, you know what, we want a gadget tight end. We're not going to take Tyler Warren. Like, I'm not laying that kind of price. Now, can I match the Loveland team, Loveland with a team? I mean, there's been stuff about Indianapolis that maybe they like him. I don't know. Maybe Chicago. Bill just came on last segment, said the Bears could be interested in both guys. That's where it gets tricky of like matching which team to which guy. But I think at price, I would still look at Loveland at plus 250. Just taking a shot. Doesn't have to be a big bet and probably can't be a big bet. It's a draft market. But plus 250, I think, is interesting, just given the fact that people seem to think these guys are much closer than what the market thinks. I mean, I was even reading Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 prospects that he put out earlier this morning over at NFL Network, and he has, I believe, Warren as his 6th rated player and Loveland as his 7th. Like, it's that close how he sees it. I'm assuming that his opinion is also helped shape by people from around the NFL, and they maybe see it similarly as well, to where it's kind of like, once again, that conversation that we had last week. What flavor ice cream do you want? You want Rocky Road? You want chocolate chip? Like what do you want to do with the ice cream? And I think that's the conversation with these guys. If that's the case, I'm always going to lean to the plus money guy.
I found that I spent like way too much time. What day was this? What day did we talk about ice cream on the show?
It was either Wednesday or Thursday. It was one of the last. Yeah, I think it was maybe Wednesday or Thursday. One of the 2 days.
So whatever that night was, it was a night that I stayed up late watching whatever the late game was, and
maybe
I go to sleep at like.
So it must have been Wednesday.
Maybe it was Wednesday, and I go to sleep. It's like 12:30, like in the morning, whatever. And I'm laying in bed, and I can't stop thinking about the gelato flavor that I had in Athens on my honeymoon that I couldn't think of. And I found the place that we went to. It was called like La Dèche, I think, or L-E and then D-E-C-H-E, I think is the name of it. Something like that. It's like a French name. Or like Gresh maybe, like G-R-E-C-H, something like that in Athens. If you Googled Athens gelato, it would be one of the first things. They're one of the best places, like highly reviewed. And I went to the menu, the current menu, and it was as I knew I would know the word as soon as I saw it.
Le Gresh.
So I went on.
Yeah, it's G-R-E-C-H-E. Is it?
Yeah. So I went on Travel Advisor, and I searched this place, and there are like 300 pictures that users post, and I kept finding pictures of the menu and the menu changes until I found the flavor. I did this for like 45 minutes in bed on like Wednesday or Thursday night into the morning instead of sleeping. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The flavor.
Did you dream about it?
I did not dream about it, but I found the flavor. The flavor is mastic, M-A-S-T-I-C. If you Google it, mastic is a resin obtained from a mastic tree. It is a natural resin, and it's used in the Mediterranean, and it's like kind of like vanilla. So that was the weird flavor that I had, was mastic. It felt like sharing.
So it was a nice little palate cleansing flavor. Like it's kind of like, so it's very. Did you put anything on it, or did you just have it plain?
No, yeah, I had it plain, man. I like
plain?
The weird ice creams. Yeah,
mastic. What if it's like vanilla? Maybe it's not too weird. Vanilla adjacent.
Would you ever? Let me see. So mastic. Let's see. Mastic gelato flavor. Let's see what it says. We are at here. Okay, see, it's the Greek equivalent of vanilla ice cream, uniquely flavored. The crystallized sap of the wild pistachio shrub, which only grows on the southern part of Chios Island. It has a unique, subtle, and often described as piney or herbal flavor. Yeah, this is what I'm into. So there you go.
Yeah, like anyway, chocolate chip cookie dough, please.
Back to, yeah, and honestly, like, fair enough. The vast majority of people will side with you here. Japan changed my dessert tastes. Because you go to Japan, and they strip everything down. Like, in America, it's not an insult. You go and you get, like, I want chocolate and vanilla ice cream with cookie dough and Reese's peanut butter cups and Oreos and chocolate syrup and caramel syrup and butterscotch and whipped cream and a cherry. And then you go to Japan and it's like, here's matcha, or here's red bean. And so I'm more in line with that these days. So there's Nick Costos on dessert. Anything else today? Yeah, which is look, and that's this is why we're fat, and this is why we're on Ozempic. Anything else betting wise on the NFL draft for today? And if not, we can get into some hockey from the weekend.
Yeah, I continue to be fascinated by the total running backs drafted in the first round market. Like, that's kind of gone against me because that's one where, like, I felt that we're going to get 3 running backs. I think these guys are too good. And the back half of the draft, I don't know if it's going to be filled with QBs. I think it's going to more so be filled with teams looking to get ahead of the eventual run that we see Friday with the second round. Daniel Jeremiah was on Mina Kimes' podcast earlier this morning. I was listening to that while prepping for the show. And he said, quote, "There's a very good chance that TreVeyon Henderson goes in the first round." Right now, over 2.5 running backs at BetMGM, plus 200, the under minus 275. So, like, I don't know why, like, we're getting, because, like, Hampton, I feel like we all kind of just said that he's going to be a first round guy. Genty might go 5th now at this point. So maybe that pushes Hampton up a little bit. If these teams like Denver or Washington, and Jeremiah specifically mentioned Washington as well when he was talking about TreVeyon Henderson and maybe that being a fit, like, he seems to check all the boxes that NFL teams like for running backs who can play early, which is pass protection and being able to hit the home runs with his speed. I think he's going to go on Thursday, where especially at price, you're going to give me 2-1 on TreVeyon Henderson to go in the first round. That interests me. So that's, I think, like the last thing from the intel and all the stuff that we've been reading and listening to this morning and over the last about 24 hours, I think is a very actionable market to bet into, despite what the market seems to think with it going against it and betting the under.
30 seconds on this. I don't think you're going to have an answer to this, which is because you probably haven't thought about it. I haven't. Is it possible that Hampton doesn't go on night one and Henderson does along with Genty? I think it's something we should talk about maybe tomorrow, because that's that would be the answer, right? Maybe that's what it is, that Henderson's actually the second running back. I need to do some work on that. I'm not prepared to have that conversation right now.
Everyone loves to do the Hampton to Broncos thing in the mock draft. Maybe they go somewhere else, or maybe they trade up for Genty. I mean, that could also happen as well. If Sean Payton wants to go ahead and get his future running back to be the franchise guy, but Denver right now minus 130 to take a running back. So I think Genty's going to go well out of their range, and if running back is their need, we might get a couple guys after Genty on Thursday.
I think a pretty prescient call by you last week on under 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round. Not that has to happen, but that was a mega contrarian opinion when you gave it out last week. It feels like you talk to insiders, experts right now. Solak was on the show with us earlier this hour. He said he'd go under right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think that may have been pretty good stuff.